Encomium. I forgot to mention this. It was in my notes. It means like a tribute. Like if you give a speech that praises something highly, or I think it may even be like a written thing. And so this is sort of a musical encomium of Led Zeppelin. High praise all around. Sometimes high praise that we don't even mess with the songs because we're too reverential. Yeah, that's one of my critiques that's coming up. All right, let's get on to the video. What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. This is the first time I haven't worn glasses in a while. I still got blepharitis in this eye, but I think it looks much better than it has in a long time. So I'm going without the sunglasses today. Plus, I'm wearing a blue shirt. So hopefully the blue of the shirt and the blue of my eyes will counteract the fact that this eye is still pretty red. So that's why this eye looks a little different. But continuing my deep dive into covers albums with 1995's Encomium, a tribute to Led Zeppelin. I'm doing this deep dive because I don't like covers albums. Because I don't like covers albums, I haven't listened to a lot of covers albums in my life. The ones I have listened to usually confirm the biases I have against them. And I've never listened to this one, despite the fact that it's been out, 30 years now, which is crazy. And I consider myself a Led Zeppelin fan. Like I have everything Led Zeppelin's ever released in multiple formats. I've seen Robert Plant live. I saw Jimmy Page live back in the day. I got all those things. I consider myself a Led Zeppelin fan, but I have had zero interest in this album over the years. Just because most covers albums, I think, do two things. They either too faithfully reproduce like what the original artist is doing, right? And in this day and age, in the digital age especially, if I have everything available and with an artist like Led Zeppelin where I can literally go listen to all these songs or make a mixtape of all these songs, most of the time I'm just like, I want to listen to the original. Or the artist forgets the original so much that it really is just them. And you're like, okay, but was that a cover or was that just, very seldom do people strike that balance. I think a great cover on the right album, Devo's Satisfaction, works perfectly. But I don't know if I want a whole album of Devo doing cover songs. Though that actually would probably be pretty good because Devo's pretty good with that. But anyways, my sort of biases were 100% confirmed when I listened to this album for the first time several days ago. Borrowed it from a friend, gave me a CD, came home, put it in the CD player. I thought I looked at it. I thought I completely acknowledged that, yes, this is the CD I'm listening to. And Misty Mountain Hop starts. It's by the Four Non-Blondes. And I'm like, wait, is this the right CD? Did he give me like a mixtape of these songs? Because I think this is Zeppelin. And then Linda Perry, who has great pipes, starts to sing. And I'm like, wait, is that Robert Plant? Wait, I think you just gave me a mixtape of this. So I'm listening a little more intently and with more attention than I had before. I'm like, okay, this is clearly not the Zeppelin version. I can hear the differences. Perry's starting to flex her vocal muscles a little. But really, by the end of it, all I could say was, wow, the Four Non-Blondes really brought it and did a really good job of reproducing Misty Mountain Hop. Live, could have killed it. But I'd rather listen to Plant. I'd rather listen to the original. I just don't know if I need a really well done reproduction of a classic song. So immediately I'm like, this is going to be an interesting ride if the opening track is this sort of like reverential to the originals that no chances are taken, and it's almost like the exact same song. So then we get to song number 2, and it's Hey, Hey, What Can I Do by Hootie and the Blowfish. And yes, what's his name might have a country career ahead of him somewhere down the line, and maybe he has the pipes to make his name in the country genre, but he isn't Robert Plant. I don't know what the personality is that Robert Plant's bringing to the original Hey Hey, but it's one of his best vocal deliveries. I think it's just so relaxed and fun, and he absolutely kills it. And the song's kind of pretty true to the original, but it doesn't have that bounce that the original does. It just seems a little too, like it's lacking something. And what is his name? Rucker? Darius Rucker. He isn't Robert Plant. He's just not Robert Plant. And this is one of those songs where I'm like, I need Robert Plant. So we're 0 for 2 so far. Then we get to Deer Maker, Jermaker, Dire Maker, however you want to say it. And Sheryl Crow is singing it. And I'm not a not Sheryl Crow fan, but I also not a, I know a couple of Sheryl Crow songs. I've never really thought of her that much. I do like that Sitting at the Bar on a Tuesday Afternoon, whatever song. All I Want to Do, yeah, that one. This is ridiculously good. It leans into an almost sublime-ish kind of reggae type vibe. It almost seems like this is a Sublime cover musically, like it's a lot tighter. It's got this really awesome, awesome acoustic vibe to it. And Sheryl Crow's voice just works. Like, I don't think ever in my entire life I had realized what an absolute incredible voice Sheryl Crow has. It's got a slightly different vibe, though it's pretty true to the original what they're playing, but it just, everything feels different. The Crow energy is different than the Robert Plant energy. And she has a little bit of sass in there that is obviously this Crow personality. And then I was listening to this. I was like, oh, this is why cover albums exist. Because when I'm done listening to this album, I'm going to go check out some other Sheryl Crow simply to check out her voice, which I've discovered I absolutely love. This version is fantastic. Absolutely amazing. Makes the album frustrating because I really have no desire to listen to the first two songs ever again. Dancing Days by Stone Temple Pilots is next. Really nice, slinky acoustic vibe. Almost gives me like an Alice in Chains vibe, some of their more low-key stuff. Waylon is almost pretty much doing a Plant impersonation, a pretty good one. Seems like there's a little more space in the production, like even the performance where it's just like, I'm going to mess up the dancing days are here again, and you won't, don't, there's just a little more like breaks in the music that kind of works. It's not as electric. It's like, it has an unplugged vibe where like one lone guy in the back's like, I don't know how to play an acoustic guitar. I'm just going to play my electric, and just drops licks throughout the whole thing, like selectively. And maybe I'm just in a really good mood because the Sheryl Crow song just knocks it out of the park. But Dancing Days also kind of kills. Stone Temple Pilots kind of deliver. Big Head Todd and the Monsters, a name many of us have forgotten, does a cover of Tangerine. Pretty straightforward. I think it's weaker than the original. Then Duran Duran does a pretty straightforward version of Thank You. And I got to give mad props to Simon Le Bon because he is going out there. He is singing his butt off. At times, he sounds like a copy of Plant, like he's just trying to do the Plant thing. But at other times, there's a little Simon Le Bon, like just working his butt off thing. A little bit of a new wave psych energy towards the end that kind of seeps in. Like, the solo has some really nice effects on it. Like, it's a pretty straightforward version of Thank You. And if I had to pick between the two, I'm 100% picking the original every day. But maybe I'm just in a really good mood after that Sheryl Crow song and that Stone Temple Pilot song. But Duran Duran's version of Thank You, it's going in the yes column. I'm giving that a point. Blind Melon does Out on the Tiles. Pretty much just confirms that they have metal in them, a little bit of new metal sound. Yet somehow, despite the fact that they're leaning into this sort of like 90s metal sound with the guitar, it still somehow sounds less heavy than the original. This is the first time I'm like, I really need some Jimmy. Pretty straightforward, but the Plant I need, the Jimmy I need. Out on the Tiles doesn't do it for me. And then something I'm actually probably going to deduct points for, because I was going to give half a point to something on here. But then I get to this song, and it's Cracker doing Good Times, Bad Times, pretty much as straightforward as you can get. And I'm not going to blame Cracker for doing it straightforward. Four Non-Blondes did it straightforward for Misty Mountain Hop, whatever. But why does Cracker get Good Times, Bad Times? Cracker should have been doing Hey, Hey, What Can I Do? Imagine David Lowery's snarky attitude doing Hey, Hey, What Can I Do? Or doing any sort of narrative, more character-driven type song. Good Times, Bad Times, you don't get the full Lowery effect. Lowery is not full snarky, sneering, I got contempt for the things I'm singing about Lowery. Lowery and Stairway to Heaven? Brilliant. Lowery and Going to California? He's from California. Let him do that. Let him go back to Santa Cruz, Riverside, all those places he's been. I'm just like, yeah, Cracker, you can rock. You can pull it off musically. But why? Just why? A waste. Helmet with David Yao doing Custard Pie comes next. Fantastic. David Yao is full David Yao. He is garbling and slurring and just doing what David Yao does. And Helmet is super tight, super focused, almost too rote, but they kind of jam it out at the end and let David Yao just be David Yao, and it just kind of keeps going and going and falls apart. I saw David Yao. Last time I saw Yao was was singing for Flipper. This was late December 2019. And during the middle of one of their songs, he with a small club, but there's maybe 20, 25 people on the front row just hanging over. And he goes down the front row and he kisses or tries to kiss every single person on the mouth. And if anybody was backing up, like, hey, man, you're not going to kiss me, somebody else would go forward and they would kiss. About a week later, after this happened, the first case of COVID dropped in San Antonio. And I'm pretty sure Yao, there's a connection between David Yao and the pandemic here in Texas. But 100% the yes on Custard Pie. So what are we at? Jamaica, Dancing Days, Custard Pie. I'm going to give maybe half a point to Thank You because Simon Le Bon's bringing it. Maybe a full point. 4 sticks with the Rollins Band. Henry's voice just doesn't work for this. It just doesn't. Otherwise, it's your pretty like muscly version of 4 sticks as you would expect from the Rollins Band. Musically, great energy. I just don't think the vocals. This is another one of those where I'm like, you're trying to sing a Plant song, people. And then going to California. I don't think, like, I'm going to give, I don't know how many points, but it's a yes and no. It's a piano vibe. The vocalist is a great vocalist, female vocalist. I just think she doesn't perform it the way Plant does it. And Plant has just this really kind of straightforward, more intimate type of, it matches the acoustic energy so perfectly that his going to California vocal performance is like kind of perfect. Right? But they're doing it with a piano, which is pretty cool. It's a nice interpretation. It's this raspy female vocalist. There's a lot of pluses in this. And I think maybe they just picked the wrong song because of the sort of narrative aspect of this. But I'm going to give it a point just for the effort. I do think they try to do something a little different. And if you're not familiar with the song, this is another one of those. It's by a group called Never the Bride, which apparently is like on the label that put out the album. And they were, hey, maybe we can get them some exposure. And then the last song, which I think is by far the most disappointing thing on here, there's a bonus track that's on more recent versions. It's not on my friend's version. He apparently bought this in like 95. I had to track it down on the internet. We'll get to that in a second. Down by the Seaside, which does not have that Jimmy Page guitar sound ever. And I'm like, nope. It's Robert Plant, Tori Amos. Plant does most of the lifting it sees. Tori is completely underused, completely robs the song of that melody, that almost nostalgic melody, that's something that Down by the Seaside has that this one just doesn't. Goes on for close to 8 minutes. This to me was just hugely disappointing. I don't understand why they thought this was going to work. I just don't get it. And without that opening Jimmy Page guitar sound, like, what are you thinking, people? And then in later releases of this, there was Mana did a Spanish version of Fool in the Rain that kind of works, very leaning into the sort of Latin vibes of this. Kind of a fun reworking of that. But nothing special, but fun. So 5 songs. I'm going to give points to Going to California, Custard Pie, Thank You, Dancing Days, and the best song on here, Sheryl Crow's Jamaica, Dire Maker, whatever you want to call it. Whatever. Check that out. Like, I fell in love with Sheryl Crow's voice because of this. I now understand why this type of cover album is something that labels get behind. Because I'm going to go check out some Sheryl Crow. Like, her songwriting is definitely middle of the road, radio-friendly pop rock, at least the stuff I know so far. But man, I don't know. There's something about her voice. That LA West Coast sass that just, Yeah, so I'm going to rank this. It got 5 out of 12. That's 42%, which means I have it right there at number 8. Got the same score as Styx's Big Band Theory. But because I don't think I was as disappointed in anything on Styx's Big Band Theory as I am on Cracker's decision to do Good Times, Bad Times, as on just the utterly devoid of charm, Down by the Seaside, those just like really kind of puzzle me and disappoint me. And that Hey Hey What Can I Do? Cracker could have done that. Lowry would have killed it. But yeah, so I have it way down at number 8. So far out of all the ones I've done, The Bridge, A Tribute to Neil Young, clear winner. But Ann Wilson's Hope and Glory, that is just such a surprisingly strong listen. And the songs that I didn't give points to on that were like she just tried way too hard, like picked a song too iconic. We're like, Ann, you got pipes. Almost everything you've done in this album has been original and the arrangements have been fresh. But this one, you're just like, nobody should touch this one. Don't remember the specifics of what that song was, but I remember saying that at some point on a video. But yeah, that's all I got. If you have an album, covers album, you want me to get sooner rather than later, drop it in the comments. I'm trying to prioritize comment stuff just because that gives me something to listen to next. I have a list of stuff. Also, recency bias always wins me over because I'm like, oh, no one said that yet. Let's add that to the top of the list. So sorry if you dropped something in the comments a while ago. I am bad about that, but I have a list. I'm going to be doing this as long as covers albums exist, and I still have a channel to do them on because I'm having a good time, and I've rediscovered or discovered or whatever with Sheryl Crow, of all people, right? That's all I got. Thanks for watching. This has been fun, me listening to this and explaining to you my thoughts. I'm enjoying it. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Give me your thoughts on this album, what I messed up on, what I missed, why this cover version is good and I need to revisit it. Tell me those things. Other than that, I'm done. Peace. Talk to you later.